Hi friends, welcome to WebChamp. In this video, I'm going to talk about functions in a JavaScript. So there are a few ways to create a function and why we create a function in different way. What is mean by anonymous function? What is mean by arrow function, or what is a callback function? Everything will be discussed in this video. So do not forget to subscribe to WebChamp and like the video. So let's start with our function declaration. So if you want to declare the function in a JavaScript, you need to use function keyword and followed by name and followed by this normal parenthesis. And then you must have to enclose your all the function code inside a curly brackets. And this is what the way to call, or this is the syntax to call the function, or it is also called invoking a function. So if I go and if I refresh, so here the function output will be printed on the screen. So that's why I have written here document.write. Okay, so this is the way to create or declare the function. But sometimes you need to pass parameters. Parameters is nothing but whenever you declare a function, you have to define the variables. Okay, these will be the parameters will be treated as a local variable, means that variables will be available only in a function block. So if I say a comma b, okay, so I don't know what type of variables is this. JavaScript is dynamically programming language, dynamically typed programming language, so we need not to worry about the type of values will be assigned to a and b. And I can write output, okay, any output by using this, or if I wanted to return, so I will show you how we can return the output. So here I will use those two parameters. I will say, or I want the product of two numbers. So what I did, I passed two parameters to the function. So this is what called a parameterized function. And in this function, we are not going to use the return keyword. So this will only pass the output to the document, HTML document. And when we call the function at that time, we need to assign the values to this A and B. These are the parameters. So we have to pass the parameter values. That values are called argument. So if I pass 10 here, let's keep 10, and if I pass 20 for the B, so accordingly values will be assigned, okay, as the order of the parameters are declared while declaring the function. In the same way, values will be assigned automatically. If I go and if I refresh here, you will see the output as a 200. That is what the product of A and B. So this is how we can see the output, or we can use the parameters inside your function body. If I want to return the output, yes, I can use. So I will say return. And I will say A into B. This will do the same operation, but instead of printing the value on browser, what it will do, it will return the value to the caller. Here, no one is calling. Means we JavaScript is calling, but we are not using that value anywhere, so we won't be able to see the output. But if you want to see the output, yes, from here also we can write, and what it will do, you can see that documents.write method I will use to pass the value on HTML code. Okay, so if I refresh here, you will see the output. If I change the value, if I say 2020, so it will be 400. Right? This is how you can get the value. So this function means what? This return keyword, whenever you use, this function will return the value to the caller. And it's up to you that where you have to use the value. If you want to pass the value directly to the DOM, you can pass. If you want to store the value somewhere in variable, yes, you can store. And I will say result is equal to this. So now we call the function from this result variable. So whatever the value this function will return will be stored inside the result, and we can pass the result also. Right. So initially we have seen function without parameter, right? We can directly call the function. Then we have seen function with parameter, and now we have seen that function with return keyword. So what is the use? So let's see if I declare anything here, or if I will say document dot write. I will pass something from here, and you can see that by default Visual Studio is showing that that line is grayed out. Why? Because whatever the code you write after the return statement, that will not be executed. Means you will get the output as a 400 only, but documents.write code will not be executed. This line will be ignored by JavaScript. In any of the programming language, this is what happens. So whenever you use the return keyword, whatever the code you will write below the return statement, that number of lines will not be executed. So here you can see that sum is 40 and product is 40. So what I will do, I will add one break here so that we can see the output properly, I mean in proper format. Okay, so these are the ways to create a function or to declare the function. Then what is a function expression, right? So we have seen function declaration. There are three types of functions we have seen. We have seen function without parameter, then we added parameters, and later on we have added return keyword. So function without parameter, function with parameter, and function with return keyword we have seen. So what is mean by function expression now? Or what is the difference between function declaration and function expression? Whenever you have to write a short function, okay, and you can write a bigger one also, that will not be a problem. But whenever you have to write a function without declaring the function name, okay, means I don't want to say that this is a demo function. I will simply say function, and I have to use these blocks, and after that function block. This way, or this is the way to declare a function, and it is called as a function expression. But whenever you use this syntax, okay, so you need to assign this function to a variable. That is what the actually function expressions. Okay, let demo, okay, I will say demo2, my bad, demo2 is equal to function expression. So this is a function expression without name. Function without name is called anonymous function. So that's why I wrote this as a function expression or anonymous function. So we don't need to declare the function name, right? And here in this, I can pass two variables, A and B. And I can write any number of code inside this block. Okay, but that function is or this type of declaration is called function declaration or function creation by using function expression. So this is the expression, and here we can write return A into B. Now the question is, okay, we don't have name of that function. We don't know what is the name of that function, but we know the name of variable for which the function is assigned. So this name is treated like a function. So if you want to call the function, you have to call the function with variable name, not a function, because we don't have function name, right? So if I go down and if I say demo 2, it will ask me for the A and B two parameters. Or let me change this to C and D so that you can see the difference. Okay. And now if I go here and if I over the mouse, you will see C and D. Any type of data it is asking. So what I will do, I will pass 5 and 5. Okay. These two parameters I have passed. So now you've got a clear picture, right? So what is the difference between function declaration? Function declaration definition will have function name, but function expression definition will not have a function name. And then using this block scope, we can write any number of lines of code. Here, if I wanted to perform something, yes, I can do that. Documents.write. I will say A minus B. So just for the demo purpose, I have added. So here logic can be built, but if you write return statement, don't write the code below the return statement because that will be ignored by JavaScript. So now, if I wanted to see the output, I will go here and you will not see anything. Why? Demo 2 is called function C and D, but here we passed A and B. My bad. Instead, I should say C and D. The variable will not be available, right? Because as I said, function parameters are a local variable inside a function that will be only available inside these curly brackets. It will not be available after curly brackets. So if I wish to use C and D here after this curly bracket or after ending the curly brackets function block, after ending the function block, it will not be available. So if I go and if I refresh here, okay, you are seeing, okay, it should be, the output is there, but the issue is that the write method automatically will not print the next write method's output on new line. Instead, it will print on same line. That's why we won't be able to see the output properly. So here you can see that we are getting the result 5 minus 5, 0. That's why it is printed 0 on my screen. And it returns C and D, but we are not passing or we are not using that return value. Whatever the value that function is going to return or demo2 function is going to return. So I can save this into the variable called result2. And similarly, as I pass the result here, I can pass the result2 also to the DOM. Okay, and here you will see the output now. So it will show you 25. Again, the same issue. All right. Plus is used for concatenation and it is concatenating my output with string called break, and that break is a tag actually. This is the HTML tag and that is used to write the next code on or next output on new line, or it is used to break the line. Okay, and this is how we can see the output. So these two functions, okay, this is a function declaration, this is what the function expression, both gives me the same output. Only difference is that this is an anonymous function without name, but we can use or we have to use the variable name. So whenever we use anonymous function, we must need to assign that function to the variable so that we can call from anywhere. But if you want to pass the function as an argument to the another function, right? In that case, you don't need to declare this. You can directly write this function inside another function's body. Okay, so that we will see in some time. But let me come to our declaration point. So now we will see how to use function constructor. So whenever we say function constructor, or whenever you heard a word called constructor, okay, so it is very similar to create an object. Okay, and how we can create an object. So if you come to the any class number or string, we might have used a new keyword. So what you need to do, you need to say new function. So this is the one of the way to declare the function. Okay, and inside this function, you have to pass the values. You have to pass the parameters. So how to pass? I will. So if you use the function constructor, what you need to do? You need to declare the parameters like this. And if you say A and B, so these are the two arguments. Okay, we have declared. And after that, what you can do? You can everything you have to write as a string. Everything means as we write the statements in previous function like this, that also everything whatever if you want to write the written words, okay, you have to write as a string. And I will say A and B. But now again I have created a function using function constructor. So this is like a function as an object. So whenever we create a function by using this, we need to store this function somewhere or store this reference somewhere in variable. So I will say demo3 is equal to new function. So this is the new way to create. This is the first way to create a function. This is second way to create a function, and this is third way to create a function. So this will declare function. Okay, now I have to call the function. So again, what you need to do, you need to use the ref, or you need to refer this demo3 variable to call this function, since we don't have any name for this function. So this is the syntax, or this is the way to create a function. So I will say let x is equal to, since this function is going to return, I will store that value in, okay, instead of x, I will use the result 3. So I will say result 3 is equal to demo3, and you have to pass the two values. That will be automatically, that will be assigned to A and B. I will say 4 and 3. So what it will do, it will return output as a product of A and B. And I will pass these two document.write by using document method to the browser to see the output. Okay, so this is the way to see the output on the browser. And if I go and if I refresh, so here you can see the product 12 as the output of this function. This is the third way. But in actual practice, we do not need to use new keyword to create a function. There is a very simple way that this expression is a simple way to create a function instead of using this third way. But since it is one of the way to create a function, I shown you how to create a function. So now we have a function, or we know various way to write a function, right? But we can use this function as a parameter value, or we can use this function as an argument somewhere in function as a value, like a value in function. So let's say we have a this function, we have a function in the form of expression. So what I wanted to show you that how arrow functions will be preferred or how arrow functions works. Okay. So what I will do, I will create a one more function very similar to this demo too. Okay, by using function expression, and that is the basic or base of creating arrow function or writing. So we have to understand how to write a arrow function. To write an arrow function, you should know what is the function expression. So if I say let demo4 is equal to, what I will do, I will use the function keyword, I will pass the parenthesis and I will create a block. Okay, and so here I will pass A and B. Okay, great. And inside this block, I was written A and B. So this is very similar to demo2 function as we did earlier here in this line. Okay, so this is very similar. I'm just not writing this document.write method in this function. Okay. So now I have a function in this way. And arrow function is nothing but it's very shorter syntax for function expression. Means what, you do not need to write this function keyword also if you are going to use the arrow function. Okay. If you do not write function, what you need to do, you need to add arrow. Arrow is created by using equal to and this greater than sign. This is again a very similar to the function expression as we write earlier. Or let me keep this function for the comparison. So I will create one more function, demo5, and here what I will do, instead of using function or function keyword, I will use arrow function. So this is the way to create arrow function. And or this is the syntax. This is how much a function can be shorter. This is a very, arrow function is a shorter syntax for function expression or writing a function expression. And as we have two parameters right here, A and B, so I can write A and B also in the curly brackets, and inside these brackets, I can write return A into B. Okay, return A into B. So these two syntax are same. Both the ways are same, but we are using function keyword and instead of using we are arrow in demo5 function. So this is the only difference between function expression and arrow function. So arrow function is a shorter syntax for function expression. So now I have to use this function. Yes, I can use the function. So what I will do instead, I will pass, or I will say documents.write, and I will call the function here inside this method by using demo5. And yes, again, here you can pass the two values A and B, right? So here you can pass the values as 4 and 5, and you will see the output as we had seen earlier. So 4 by 5 is 20. So we are getting exact output as expected, right? But let's say you have only one value. If you have only one value in your expression, you don't need to use this bracket also. So let's say you have only one value as a parameter. You don't need to use parentheses also, and you don't need to use curly brackets and return statement. So this is your shortest syntax of arrow function. And instead of B, we can have a number. So if you want a number or if you want to square off any number, we can use arrow function. It is very, very simple function, right? And if I pass demo 5, you will get the square of 4 and output will be, oh, sorry, not a square. I used multiplication, but if I use exponential, so you will get the square of 4. So this is the way to create arrow function, or this is the your arrow function. Now, what is a callback function? Okay, so let's have a, or let's forget whatever we have seen so far in earlier, and we have to see callback function. It is again a function, right? Let me define the function, or we can have a function. Let's say function. Okay, function demo 6. I will just create this function. I will say, and here document dot write. Okay, so this function is going to write, but what? So it is, let's say it is going to write a value, some kind of value. I don't know what is value. I have created value as a parameter, and that parameter will be written on HTML body by using document.write method. So this function is going to give me the output. But what is the value of function? And we don't know value. So what I will do, I will create another function to create a, or to get the result. Okay, so I will say add a function I will create, and here if I take two parameters A and B. Okay, so what I can do here is I will say return, or instead of, yes, we can return either, yes, return, let me return this A and B. So this function is going to return the product of A and B. In this way, I have a two functions. Okay, one will return the product. If it returns, okay, we need a variable to call this, and again, so what I need to do, I have to use this demo6 function to show the output. So what I can do, okay, what I will do, I will show you here. I will call this add function here, and while calling, I will pass the value 4 and 5. Sum will be 9, right? As we know that this will return me 9. So what I will do, I will pass this value to this demo6 function. So this is the first call I have to use. Let me say x is equal to add 4 by 5. So I'm calling this function. Okay, this will return me sum of two numbers, and that sum will be stored inside a x value. Again, what I wanted to do, I wanted to print the output on browser. Right. So for that purpose, I have this function also, demo6 function. So what I will do, I will call that demo6 and demo6, and here I have to pass the value. So I will pass value x. So it will write the value on the document output as a 9. Okay, I might have not used. What I will do, I will add a break to this so that we can see the output on 9. So this is my latest out. So here we have to call two functions, right? Instead, what we can do, we can pass the function as an argument to another function, and that function will be called. Okay, but how it called? All right, that function will be called to display the output somewhere on. Okay, so this is how what I did. I have added one more parameter, and I'm going to pass the value of that or I'm going to pass the name of that function. So function can be anything. Okay, so I will pass demo6. So now what I did, instead of calling two different functions, I will call only one function, but one function is going to call another function. That means this add function is going to call this demo6 function. That's why I have assigned a demo6 value here. And what I need to do now, I have to store this result somewhere. Okay, so what I will do, I will say let a1 or let sum is equal to, okay, this is what the variable I have created. And I have to show this sum on my browser here as a output. Okay, so yes, that we can do. So since we have a output in the sum, so now I have to pass the value to demo6. So what I will do, I will call the func here, and here I pass the value sum. So this is what something little confusing to the new JavaScript learners, I know, but I will explain how this works. Okay. So what initially what will happen? Let me get my pen. So now focus here. So initially we are going to call the function called, or you can understand that how this function is written, how this function is written. These are the parametric functions, right? So until this, nobody have or nobody will get issue. The issue is that how functions are called. Done. So what it will do initially, whenever we start call, let's say if I pass 4, 5, and demo6, okay, as an argument. So on next line, what it will do, it will do the sum of this, and it will store the value inside a sum. Okay, demo6 is assigned to func keyword. Okay, not a keyword. Actually, this is a parameter. Okay, func parameter. So this func value is replaced with demo6. Means whenever we execute a function, this add function, that func, or what you can say here. So this will be a name of another function. And that's why we are able to call that function. Whatever the function we pass here will be called on this line. And on next line, so func of sum is equal to demo6 of sum. Okay, and we are going to call the demo6 function from here. This line will call that function, and that function has code to proceed further, right, with the output. So this function will display the output on my screen. So this is the sequence, or this is the chaining of function that used, and the function which is called as a parameter or as an argument to the another function is called callback function, because that function is called from another function. Okay, so now you may got a clear picture about what is a callback function. So callback function is a function which is passed as an argument to another function. It's called callback function. So here demo6 is passed as an argument. That's why we call this function as a callback function. And if you want to make the shorter, okay, even more shorter, you can pass this function body directly here. Demo6, everything from this you can pass here. You can use arrow function here, or you can pass here also as you want. So let me say how we can pass the function. So we can use any type of function here as an argument to the another function. That function will be called as a callback function. And if I wanted to pass arrow function here, yes, we can pass. But remember one thing about arrow function is that we can reduce the, or we can remove return statement and brackets when you have only one argument and only one statement. In that case only you can reach to that much shorter syntax. Otherwise you need to create a block, and if you have a many parameters you need to use the brackets here, means parenthesis here, to get the as many parameters. You can use this variable name to call the function. This is how JavaScript function declaration, function expression, function using constructor, arrow function, and callback function works in JavaScript. Okay, if you understand this, you will understand further or advanced part of JavaScript. That is what how JavaScript arrays are iterated, or how set iteration, how map iteration works. There are many methods, already built-in method that accepts one function as a parameter to another function. So that I will discuss in my next video. That is what iterators in JavaScript. Iterator is nothing but array iterators in a JavaScript. So thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day.